Hey everyone. Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Christina. Hi.
Hi, Joe. Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome.
Welcome to another or the first episode of Is That an Owlbear? A D&D podcast. Just for introductions, I'm DM Joe, and well, this is
I'm
Christina.
Cristina. Hi, how are
Uh,
you? Just Christina's fine. Like, share.
yes, just Christina, and well, DM Joe, or honestly, whatever you want to call me is fine. Um And well, we're very excited to be here. I first want to say that was a rad tune you got for us. So thank you very much for that.
Isn't it amazing? I just want to say, I want to take a minute to shout out my lovely friend Claudia. She did me a solid. She was like, "Y'all need a song for your podcast? I got you." Did it take a little bit to happen? Yes, because
Mm,
life happened and
always.
we're all very busy people. But she
Mm.
came through, and I'm really here for our intro music. And if you are not, well, that's a shame.
That is a shame, and that sounds like a you shame because I think it's perfectly on
Thank you.
brand, on vibe of what we're doing. So thank you, Claudia. Again, I don't know you,
Snaps
but I
for
think you're great.
Claudia. She's
Snap,
wonderful.
snap, snap, snap. So yeah, well, how are you? How's everything going?
Everything is good. I'm really happy to be here. I I don't know. I think this is something that's been in the making for a really long time.
Yeah,
You and I have been friends for, holy crap, like
a life
13
time.
years, eight,
That's
15. It's a quinceañera.
yeah, it's our quinceañera. So we decided to celebrate with a
Look
podcast.
at that. Isn't that beautiful? Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of us.
It's one of the best things that we're doing. I'm actually super excited for it because,
I am too,
well,
but the math isn't mathing.
the math is not gonna math. It's our imaginary quinceañera. It's our D&D quinceañera. I'll go with that.
I love that. Let's do that. You know what? I'm going to
But I'm
cheers to that.
super excited. Cheers! I with you got your drink. I got my coffee
Look
because
at you with
I'm
your
nothing
coffee and
without
me with
coffee.
my orange
Yeah,
juice.
my Chicago Cubs cup of coffee. I don't do sports. Don't get the wrong idea. Um,
Well, I do alcohol, and this is a mimosa.
but this is a
So,
giant cup, so this is why it's great. Anyway, the reason that we're here is, well, we want to talk a little bit about D&D. We have obviously we've known each other forever. We've played a ton of different role-playing games, tabletop games, super nerdy video games. It's what we do. And we thought, well, just in full transparency, I've been wanting to get into a more creative line of work, for lack of a better word. I just want to express the
he's a
creativity that
corporate suit. He is a
yeah,
corporate suit, and he hates it.
mm-hmm. So we're working on hating less
Does
and
not
doing
spark
more that
joy.
we love. Does not spark joy. We're Marie Kondoing my life.
That's right. That's right.
By that's correct. And one of the big things that we're doing is starting off talking a little bit about our experience, or well, my experience DMing. I've been DMing since I was 15. That's I'm just gonna go with more than a quinceañera years ago. And funnily enough, Christina's been playing for a really long time, but she's kind of that player that plays and gets told what to roll. So she's kind of still counts as a really new player
I really don't know what I'm
uh,
doing. I never know
half the
what I'm
time.
doing.
Yeah.
Listen, I am to talk a little bit about myself. I am charismatic and endearing and absolutely freaking adorable. I am an actor, and I honestly find reading boring sometimes. So when it comes to figuring out, listen, I
Christina's one
have
of those people that has charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. That's how we can really define her. And if you add in like, do you know rules?
no.
She'll
I
fumble a bit.
will I will probably panic.
She'll
There's
listen.
I will listen. There might be some wah 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 in there, but I will try to listen as much as I can. I cannot promise that I am actually fully comprehending what's been said to me, but I will have a great time and do
Yes.
everything in my power to make everybody else have a great time. I put the role in role playing.
That she does. And with that she can roll the correct dice about, I'm gonna go with 60% of the time. So with that, the
That is
idea
generous.
behind that is generous. I'm a kind DM. That is a lie.
My dice hate me.
Yeah, they do. But with that being said, the idea behind this podcast is to have someone with a little bit of knowledge, because I personally believe that, especially this year, and I'll get into that in a little bit, there's so much you can know, but you have to keep seeing different venues and seeing how to like grow your craft. And so I have a little bit of knowledge that I want to share with anybody who wants
He
to
has
get
been
into
modest.
D&D.
He does have a lot of knowledge.
Okay, well, that's true too. But I do have it a lot of knowledge, but I do want to add that this year in particularly, I was talking to some friends that I'm currently playing with, actually 2022. I was talking to them. I was like, I went in and I just started, what are other DMs doing? What is going on? What's the tabletop scene doing? Like what's going on? And I really just started like soaking in all the different approaches and what people are doing. And I can tell you that like I'm thriving I'm like in my DM top era. Like I am really
I
enjoying what
love
I'm
that
doing.
for you.
Yeah, yes, like I honestly, it's so fulfilling to do a craft that you're confident in, but then seeing how many other people are doing it their way and being able to continuously learn and evolve. And I can see the happiness in my players' eyes. So that's why we wanted to talk a little bit about tabletopping and DMing and storytelling and role playing, and someone that knows, someone that doesn't, put it together and package it up in a nice little size bite, digestible content that you can eat and learn D&D. Yes, through us, or maybe even expand the way you're playing, because I've learned maybe for a future episode that I do some of my DM choices are on the less popular side, not bad. It's a different way that people play games, and we want to get into that. We want to talk about what we're doing, what we're not doing, what worked, what didn't. As I said, I've been DMing for more than half my lifetime, and I've grown so much. So I just kind of want to share that with everybody. And that's why I personally spoke with Christina and said, hey, do you want to take this fun little journey with me?
And I said, hell yeah, because why the hell not? But I'm also a wrestling fan, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to just be hell yeah, cause yes, if you know, you know. Let's just move on. But
plug it.
I am a performer. I am an actor by trade, and I have been acting and performing since the age of 4, and I was always just really drawn to D&D, to role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games for that matter. And then one day, very, very much serendipitously, I met Joe. We met. He was my boss.
Boss.
My corporate boss, and we bonded over being nerds. Yes. Just like nerding out. Just like, oh my god, look at us, we're not alone. So suddenly it was like, hey, I remember I went into his office one day and I was like, have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? And he would like, I remember this very vividly. He looked up and he was like, why do you ask? And I was like, I've never played and I think it's really fun. And I'm just kind of like trying to find people who might help me with this, because why not? And he was like, it's really, really interesting that you're bringing this up, because I haven't played in a really long time and I miss it. And I'm like, then what are we doing? Why are we not
miss it together?
Let's not miss it together, because I really want to get into this. And it's been truly, as an actor, as a performer, as a person who speaks for a living, it's truly interesting to see not only how the storylines take a life of their own, but the kind of relationships that you are able to create while role playing, how to develop inter-character storylines, how a very well-built storyline might just fall flat because of the players' performances. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be an actor or like, and you don't have to be a thespian to enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, but you do have to care about what you're doing. And if you're not truly caring about the game that you're playing, you're not going to experience what the point of the game is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and just with those lines, like as Christina said, it's not about being the best thespian or you have to be extroverted. Like D&D is a cooperative game that you're playing
correct.
with friends or people you don't know who will probably become friends if you play long enough.
Exactly.
And it's learning how to bounce off each other, and you can have a silent player or a very loud player, and part of the DM's job is to balance it and make sure that everybody gets that moment per session to shine, be it in combat, in role play, make sure all stories are moving forward, make sure the players also are following what they want. Because you can be like, I have this super cool tavern where there's 7 bards and they're all crazy assassins. And they're like, we're going to go to the library. So you go to the library and you make it fun.
And you find 7 bards and they all get shushed.
Not always. I mean, there is certain encounter movement that you can do around, but part of the best, what I really like is the improvisation that you can bounce off players, and that's why it's always useful to have different types of personality types in your table, because you can bounce off some people and that's going to help the more quiet players also shine. And it's also keeping in mind that 1, it's a game, 2, everybody's different, and know who you're playing with. If you have that really quiet friend who you really know likes the game and is really good at the note-taking or being support, take them on your story.
Yeah. Everybody needs, like, everybody's good at something. You don't need to be like I was saying before, you don't need to be the best actor or the best performer in order to enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, because everybody's best qualities are qualities that are needed in a game of D&D or tabletop, for that matter, whether it is D&D, Dragon Age, Vampires the Masquerade. Well, vampires, not necessarily the Masquerade. That's a sore topic today.
Yeah.
Any role playing game.
Pathfinder, whatever you want.
Right. And again, one of the main reasons why I said count me in when Joe was like, hey, is this something that interests you? Is the fact that, just like Joe mentioned before, I have been playing for a hot minute. No, to be fair, I haven't actually played in like a decade because I moved out of the country.
Yes. Correct.
But because of, like, partly because of that, but also including the time when I was an active player in one of Joe's sessions, just because I enjoy what's going on doesn't necessarily mean that I have taken the time or have had the opportunity to familiarize myself with all of the aspects of the game, unlike Joe. And it's always something that has fascinated me because, and I do tend to veer this into the performative part of the game, it really does help me. Like, role-playing games have helped me develop aspects of characters that I might not have considered developing for my work.
Yeah.
I have been able to bring aspects from my work into the, like, over to the table, but I have also been able to carry with me things that I have lived and experienced on the table to my actual performances that I have to do in front of a bunch of people, not just my friends sitting in a living room.
And that's part of the benefits of role playing, because you incorporate it in your character building, but it also improvisation, quick thinking, problem solving. It is, D&D is so much more than a couple of dice rolls and like a haha, I got it. It is all the things that I mentioned and many more. And it depends also the table that you're at. people can play combat focus, which means that you need to be able to like analyze different character classes and races and put it
That's
together
not me.
in a cohesive way and make it make sense. You can, that's usually my tables aren't combat oriented,
No,
but
they're
there's
not.
always combat. There's a
That's
lot of
true.
role playing. We do a lot of role playing. I love when my players just when they talk and I don't have to do anything, just very honestly, just like lay back and they're all like dealing with all their dramas and everything's a
Oh
mess. And I'm
man.
just here like, can I get more coffee? Like, what's going on? Like when they're just bouncing, I'm going through it because if there's one thing I do as a DM is put people through it because I just think conflict makes for good stories.
Like the trauma,
The trauma.
the trauma and the drama on
It's
his tables, on your
my
tables.
players. My
So
players
freaking real.
are they have
Traumatized
one thing in common. They trauma bond over things, and it's exciting for
against you.
me.
We trauma bond
Yes,
because of you, against you.
yes, that is. I'm gonna take that in stride because I quite enjoy it. It you have to have the angst and the honestly also the horniness. There's a lot of
Honestly,
horniness in
yes.
D&D.
Like, let's be very honest. Let's be very honest. I never expect to speak to my friends in a in a lascivious way. There's a place for everything, and
And
I
D&D
do not.
is that place.
And D&D, it kind of is that place. Like, I have said some things to my dearest friends that if we were to just be walking down the street, not in the current predicament that we find ourselves on, like while playing the game, if we were just walking down the street, I don't know, I would have probably lost a few friends. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, I'm just gonna going back. You killed your ex-boyfriend
I
when he
did
wasn't
kill
your
my ex-boyfriend.
ex-boyfriend.
He
Like we've done things. We've done things. Things have happened in our
I did
games.
kill my ex-boyfriend when we were still together. That
Still
did happen.
dating. Yeah, that did happen. So we all do
I
things that we're proud of. I mean, things that
I
we regret.
also
And
killed a friend twice on the same session out of spite.
also,
I
mean,
did do that because
but
he
you
was
know,
being really freaking annoying.
as they say, he had it coming.
He really did have it coming. Like if you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I bet that you would have done the same. Just
Wanna do a
saying.
DM clarification just because I know that D&D isn't about PvP. We were playing Vampires the Masquerade when she did
We
all
were.
these killings, and
Yes.
in that game, there's a lot more PvP that goes on. We're very how can I say this?
Yeah.
We're very flexible in what we played. We played Vampires the Masquerade for like 2 years. We played D&D
Yeah.
on and off for a couple of years. Then we created our own system called Children of Gaia. We're very proud of. Some of
Yes,
us
we
have
are.
tattoos about them. And then we went back to D&D. I'm
And
not
this is
currently
what this,
playing with Christina.
this is what this
Yeah, and now we're
podcast is
here,
about.
which is D&D. Well, actually, it's mostly D&D, but we will talk about other role-playing games and because our experience varies and we want to like address everything that we've done, the good, the bad, the ugly, how much we've grown as players, as role players, as DMs. I know that half the things I did in some of my sessions beyond I wouldn't even think about doing now, versus sometimes I'd be like, I was too nice, I was too lenient, I was too mean, all of that. We keep evolving, we keep growing. I have been nice.
In occasions.
I mean,
you
the
have
only
been
way see, here's the thing. The only way to make the angst work is that you have to have nice things and then you take them away.
I am so glad that neither you or I are considering the idea of being parents currently, because if that is the premise,
that's the premise for angst, and that's not how I would raise my kids, but that is the premise for angst and good just
I'll take
good
that.
moments.
That's
for
true.
me
one of the main rules of acting is you have to have tension.
Yes.
When you're on a stage, and one of the best things to do when you're performing, when you're acting on a stage, is to have both people who are having a conversation and are clearly at odds. You have to have them at opposite sides of the stage, because that distance creates the tension.
Yeah.
And
I
Joe
feel that.
over here, this man, oh, I screamed. I scrimped. This man is fantastic at just splitting the party to create that tension.
I mean, in all reality, people come to any situation through different conclusions and different paths. And one of the best things is to have these paths be contradictory.
That is
What
true.
one group wants, the other one doesn't. And it just so happens that we find that out near the end, not at the start. So it becomes the conflict after working together. I don't know. I have a lot of
Conflictive emotions.
Yeah, because then you have your interpersonal relationships built into your previous goals, and that's where we get the best of conflicts. I have a lot of tools in my tool belt. My best moments are, personally, just to give you an idea of what we like to do, when people feel things, be them good or bad. Cristina made a joke earlier right here that when do I give good things? And my best moment in yesterday's game, I had in my homebrew world, there's 12 legendary beasts, and they're all like mythical and blah, blah, blah. One of them is a Quoto, which is a winged snake, and I made it giant and massive. And they found her, and she was polymorph. She was a woman. They talked. It was very nice. And then she said, "Let me take you back to your base." And they rode her back, and describing the sereneness and like the beautiful sightseeing that they had, and through the skies, to the clouds, to the sun, and how it was so peaceful. This was like an hour.
I'm stressed out already.
No, it was beautiful. It was like an hour or two after they almost got eaten by a red ancient dragon. So they had like the highest stakes. They almost died. It was great. And then they had this gift, this beautiful thing. And I could see my players literally like, they sat in silence for like, no one said anything while I was describing it. And they sat in silence and they took it in. And
Catharsis.
Yeah, like their reactions, you could feel it in the room. Everybody just basked, because it was like a treat after such a bad day of like hectic adventuring. And that's what you give the good, but you also have to give the bad, because otherwise you gotta balance it out. Otherwise there's nothing. And those are the little type of things that we want to talk about, how I came to the conclusion to those in my story, or how you can, as a potential DM or a potential player, can get different ideas, different characters, talk about role playing, talk about what classes we like, we don't like. We want to talk about D&D in general, all the ups, downs, what we really appreciate, like a sorcerer, what we don't. Ranger, sorry, I'm kind of clear my throat. And just enjoy a little bit of like question that I know she'll ask. We'll expand.
I do have a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions because I don't know a lot.
Yeah, she doesn't know. I quizzed her
about D&D.
Yeah, correct. I quizzed her. I was like, name the magic classes that come in the player handbook, and she couldn't name sorcerer. She got stuck. It was pretty great. I think
what did I say? I said warlock, wizard,
and mage.
And mage.
You were stuck. You're like, mage is the first one, and I was like,
no.
So that was pretty good. I mean, I understand the concept. It's not wrong.
They do is pew, wrong. Pew magic.
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah. Like nothing is wrong. It's all valid. It's how you play the world. You can rename everything. For me personally, in this podcast, you'll find a DM who reads the rules and then he says, okay, let's fuck that, and let's do rule of cool and have some little guidelines. And you might get like the people my age or older who's like, that's not real D&D, Joe. What are you doing? And I'll be like, we're having fun. That's it. That's what D&D is. Having fun. Is your table doing something that works for your table? Keep doing it. We don't know anything.
Like, honestly is the way that I see it is people telling other people what is fashionable. I'm sorry.
Mhm. What?
What? Like
Like what?
how can you tell me if your style is not my style that I'm not being fashionable? You
Yeah.
know, like everybody has a very personal style, way to dress up, way to express themselves and their identities. And there is no cookie cutter for anything. And
Correct.
when you are building a world, how are you going to expect people to cookie cut that to your expectations?
Correct.
It's
Correct.
so restrictive.
And there's no reason why a game based off imagination, like it's based off
Fantasy.
thoughts, like there's just nothing is real. There's no reason to be like, the goblins don't speak that language because on page 70, be quiet, Steve. Nobody wants to hear that, Steve.
And listen, Steve, if that works for you when we are doing your table, that is great. That is
Yes,
great. And I am sure that Steve can find other players who
I'm
wish to play
sure.
the way that Steve plays. But it's
Yes.
not the one and only way. We are not trying to. Oh, also, by the way, there's going to be cursing in this podcast. If not
Hmm.
by Joe, I will.
I I can't
So
believe I cursed before you. That was
that
unexpected.
was very unexpected. Like that's
But it's
usually
Steve. It's Steve. Like the thing is, I don't have patience for Steves.
that's fine. Actually, my husband doesn't either. It's a Steve thing. Not to shit on Steve's
I hope you're
because
fine, Steve. Like
like
Steve,
I
if you're
wishing you
hearing
the
us,
best.
I hope you're great.
Let me give you my presidential thumb. Wishing you the best, Steve. But like it's not it's nothing against Steve's, but hey, you
But
know,
but
like
like
there's
in the
plenty of
words
colors on the
of
rainbow.
yeah, in the words of our Lord and Savior Taylor Swift, you need to calm down. Are you okay? Again, I'm not a Swiftie, but it just seemed according to what Steve needs to hear. Steve needs to hear that.
We
So
hope that you're doing well, Steve,
yes.
wherever you
Uh,
might find yourself.
moving forward, whenever I'm going to criticize any player, he's going to be called Steve, and I'm sure without having to describe him, you can imagine him, and we're probably imagining the same person.
Mhm. This is not to, I'm sorry, again, there's going to be a lot of cursing from me. This is not to shit on anybody. We're not trying to
No
shit on
one,
anybody here.
no one.
Some people
Steve
are
is
going to get called
imaginary.
out.
Steve, yeah,
Steve don't
yes, they are.
exist. Some people are going to be called to the front and they're
Don't,
going to be expected to answer to some things,
yes,
but mostly it's going to be made up scenarios. So nobody needs to get, I'm sorry, their panties in a twist. Please,
correct.
no need. No need. This is a safe space, but we
Yes,
also get to find and use humor
correct.
to get a
And
point across.
a big thing is the only like there's it's never okay to gatekeep anything.
No,
So
anything.
when any player tells you you're not playing it right, for me that's gatekeeping. And
If you gatekeep, we will make fun of you, but because of
yes,
your gatekeeping, not because of
correct.
you as a person.
And
Like,
probably I'll refer to you as Steve. So just if your actual name is Steve, I'm sorry. I
we're so
apologize.
sorry.
First episode, we'll probably have a Steve and like I'm gonna go with like a Brenda in case we want to mess
Mm,
around. We'll come back with a female name.
we'll marinate that name.
Christina, yeah, but Steve is Steve. Anyway, so we're excited to talk about D&D as going forward. You can probably we'll try to put out content weekly, just talking about different things that as we mentioned earlier, and maybe talk a little bit about what's going on in the D&D world, what's going on in my campaign, what's going on in our campaigns. We might be playing something sooner or later. Who knows? Stay tuned. And also, you'll be able to find me on Start Playing. I'm DM Joe. I'm a professional DM. I didn't mention that. I've been pro DMing for a little bit, about 6 months, just locally. But
But do
soon, when
not be
this goes up,
deterred. Yes, he's been
yes,
professionally DMing for about 6 months, but this man has over 20 years.
that's true.
Do the
Yes,
math. He has over 20 years of experience. Okay.
that's true. Thank you. I've been
You're welcome.
playing as a hobby for over 20 years. Since I was 15, so that's what,
I said 20,
18, no,
just over 20.
23.
Just go
Yeah,
with
over 20, over 20, over 20. So I've only charged since last year, and it's gone well. So I decided to try to play it, do it online and see what's going on. We'll start playing. So you can find me there as well in case you want to see, what we're talking about, and potentially we'll see. So I'm gonna be around there, and I'm just very excited to D&D with everyone. If anybody wants to play and have a good time, let's have a good time.
I have a question
But
for you.
what's up?
Would you ever? Probably the answer is no. But would you ever consider doing a wrestling campaign?
But like wrestling in this world, or like
Yes.
gladiators
No,
from
as it,
Coliseum?
like, why can't we have both? Like,
Someone time traveled
I
into
don't
a
know.
portal.
Yes, like I don't know. Like suddenly you find yourself in a mythical world of Nama where you have gladiators and entertainers
Yes.
who like
The answer
I
is yes.
I love that.
The answer is yes. And what do you want me to
Yes,
let's tell that
and
story.
that's right. That's right.
Let's tell that story.
Listen, I like to compare Dungeons and Dragons and RuPaul's Drag Race and wrestling, like all of them all together. Because at the end of the day, you on all of those three, you are telling a story, you're keeping people engaged, you are making people clutch their pearls, gasp and go, and like that is all you like.
All those wrestlers
Beautiful.
have charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. They do.
Not all of them, but that's
not
a
all
different.
of them, but like
that's a
the
different story.
popular
That's a
ones.
different podcast. Follow me for
That's a
more
different
wrestling.
podcast. Follow her. Yeah, don't follow me for any wrestling. My wrestling is gonna be whoever can lip sync for the life the best. Anyway, Cristina, I have a surprise for you.
You have a surprise for me. I like surprises.
If you check your WhatsApp, you'll see an image, and I'm going to describe it to the players.
My God!
And this is a little segment that we're doing to close out our episodes. It's called "Is That a Blank?" Play on the name, and I'm going to describe it for everybody who's listening to the podcast. And Christina's going to try to guess what it is and tell us a little bit about it, and then I'll probably correct her. So. Currently, this is like a plant-based creature that ate a man or a woman or a tiefling, really. It has a bunch of roots around it. It extends like arms and legs, all greenery. There's leaves everywhere, and even some fungal growth, very cordyceps, giving us Ellie, giving us Joel, giving us Last of Us vibes. And it's eating a person. Quick, Cristina, what is this called and what does it do?
It's a sentient mangrove, and it's a network of vegetation that does not take kindly to people overstepping. I don't know. It swallowed a thing. It swallowed a person. So
give it a name. Give it a name. That's the last thing. What would you call this?
Mangrove Man.
Mangrove Man. All right. It's actual
Mangrove Man.
Actual name, Shambling Mound. And you did say some things that are very correct, which is that it's what did you say? Interwoven network.
A network of
that statement was more correct because it does have inside it does have like a core. But the way it works is the way these are created when lightning strikes vegetation or by fey magic, and they create basically sentient plants that will eat you and are always hungry. Always hungry. They want to eat you for dinner. They're all-consuming devourers, unseen hunters. They're spawned by lightning, and sometimes they're referred to as the weed that walks.
The weed that walks.
Yeah, they're a pretty fun monster. I actually, in my current campaign, have an entire forest with them, and the players don't know. So they're in for a treat for that. And yeah, that's how we're going to be closing out our podcast, always with a little episode or a little guessing game. You can find the image and a little recap as to where to find it on my Twitter. which is at Joe Harrell. That's JoeHarel. You can also find me on Instagram in a handle that I will tell you next time because. And and yes, Cristina.
Well, first off, just so that everybody knows, this podcast is going to have all the socials. Okay. Eventually, there'll be an Insta, Twitter. I cannot promise a Facebook group, but we might. I don't know. But there will be more socials for you to come and check us out. Anyways, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitch. I am also a Twitch streamer. I do a lot of nonsense, so come and check it out as Crispa Contreras. Crispa Contreras, Contreras. And you can find me on TikTok and Twitter as Crispa120. And yeah, come and check it out.
You can follow us. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to be around every tentatively Wednesday. So thank guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.